Welcome to another episode of Funkin' Friends. I am today having my friend Anna Staniszewski join me. She will be taking part in this episode. We're going to talk about, well, lots of books, actually. She's got a ton of books. Oh, here's another one of them. Yeah. This is one of her newest, The Wonder of Wildflowers. She has a bunch of other series that have come out, and some picture books, and some chapter books too. So we will be chatting about that, and Anna will join me shortly. So I'm excited to have her on tonight. She has been a longtime mentor of mine. She's helped me out a ton on the road to publication, and so I'm very, very excited to chat with her and share all her stuff with you. So anyway, welcome everyone. We'll just get going in just a minute. I see a lot of familiar faces. Hey friends. And there's Anna. All right, go live with Anna. Okay. This is when I make silly faces. Connecting. Hey, what's up, Anna? How's it going? How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm good. It's been a while since I've seen you. So, yeah, how have you been?
You know, at home.
All right. You haven't grown or anything. You look pretty much the same, I guess. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you want to just introduce yourself, say a little about yourself, and what you do and write and things like that?
Sure. So hi, I'm Anna Staniszewski. I write all sorts of things, but I think the thing that connects all of my stories is that they're either about magic or they're funny or both. And I write picture books, I write middle grade novels, I write upper middle grade, I write chapter books. And so my newest books, I can just plug my newest book because I got one in the mail today. So my chapter book series is the Once Upon a Fairy Tale series. And the first book is called The Magic Mirror. It's about a magic mirror that's been broken, and it's about a nice princess. So the second one in that series is a Cinderella retelling. The third one is the Snow White retelling. And the one that comes out next week is called The Snoring Princess. And hold it up so you can see how beautiful it is. So I just got this in the mail today, and my daughter and I both like squealed in delight. So this is obviously a Sleeping Beauty retelling. So they're fairy tale mysteries, and they're super fun to write, and they're really fun to do.
What? Who illustrates them?
Mackie Pemanchuan.
Okay,
cool. And his illustrations are like amazing. They're so perfect. So
there's two main characters, right?
Yes. So Kara and Zed, and they. So Kara is a shoemaker's daughter in the Enchanted Kingdom. And Zed is a royal messenger, and they're kind of just a couple of regular kids who go out and solve fairy tale mysteries. So this is so fun to write, and I like that a lot of times the solution to the mystery is not magical, so that's always really fun.
Okay, so it's a magical world, but they're just regular detectives.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Yeah. So you have a lot of middle grade series, and so this is one of them. I think book one is in my son's room right now, but this is the Dirt Diary series, I guess, but these are the other 3 books in the series. I'm not sure that I'm holding them in the right order, but yeah, this one is probably the only thing you've written that doesn't have some sort of magic in it, right? Is that true? No, the cruise, Once Upon a Cruise.
Yes, thank you. So what happens when you write a bunch of books you don't remember anymore.
But
yes,
this and one other book I think are all they're all these are the ones that are sort of realistic fiction, and these ones are hilarious, by the way. I love this series. Rachel is the girl's name, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. No, I can see it on the back now. It's been a while since I've read them, but I read them aloud, at least the first 3 to my daughter, and you know, there's a point where like the girl wants to kiss the boy, but I think maybe they kiss in one of them or something. But so it's all funny when I read it to my daughter, or did, you know, years and years ago. But these books are hilarious. And can you tell us a little bit about this series? Because I don't know, I'm not gonna have you tell us about all your books, but well, I enjoyed reading to my daughter.
So the Dirt Diary series is about a girl who winds up cleaning houses with her mom, because her mom has a house cleaning business, and she winds up cleaning some of the houses of her classmates and discovering some of their secrets. So that was very fun to write, because there was a lot of embarrassing moments and a lot of like middle school embarrassment and anxiety, and just a lot of kind of funny misadventures that happen throughout that series. And she's also really into baking, so there's a lot of like delicious things, descriptions of food in there that made me just want to eat brownies all the time when I was writing.
So how did you kind of land on middle grade? I know the answer to this question, but how did you end up kind of there, as opposed to, I don't know, what did you start out writing when you wanted to be a writer?
So when I first started out writing, I thought I was writing adult short stories. And then I, at one point, got a critique where somebody was like, you know, all your characters sound 13. I was like, huh, that's interesting. And then right around that time, I got a job at the Carle Museum, which had like just opened. And I was surrounded by people who love children's books. And I thought, huh, interesting. You know, it's just made me realize that so many of the books that meant a lot to me were books that I had read when I was like 10 or 12. And so I thought maybe that's what I should be doing, is writing books for that age group. And every once in a while I'll tinker with an idea and I think, oh, maybe this is a young adult novel. And then the voice always just pulls it into middle grade. I think I just have a natural middle grade voice, and I've stopped fighting it. I just embrace it, because it's such a fun age to write for. And I feel like any idea can really work for middle grade. So it's so much fun to kind of take something that maybe sounds like a little too dark or a little too complex and make it work for that audience.
I think there's something to that, having the middle grade voice, because you're not the only person that's been told you sound like a 13 or something like that, you know. Yeah. I remember Jess Keating once said that she was writing not educational, she was writing like, what's the word I'm thinking of? Like stuff, being a zoologist, like professional papers, and people were like, you have too much voice in here. Like, I think the middle grade voice is something like, either you just have it, or maybe you can learn it, I don't know, but some people just have it, and you're one of those people that just has it. So when did you get a job at the Carle Museum? The Eric Carle Museum, for those who don't know, it's the picture book art museum. It's a museum of picture book art. Is that what it's officially called? It's in Western Mass, in Amherst, I believe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's on the Hampshire campus of Hampshire College, I think.
It's like right next to.
Yeah, next to it.
Yeah.
So, so we, I've been there a bunch of times, but I didn't go until 15 years after it opened. So how did you end up there in, what was it, around like 2002, 3, something like that?
It was 2003. I got hired there before they actually even opened officially.
Cool.
I was working, like, I just moved out. I graduated from college and I didn't know what to do with myself. So I just moved to Amherst, where my boyfriend was living, now my husband. And I got a job in a classroom, just like as a Polish tutor, actually, in a first grade classroom. And then Megan Lambert, who used to work at the Carle Museum, came in to talk to the classroom, and she started talking about this amazing museum that was opening in town. And I was like, tell me more about this magical place. And then I saw a job listing for there, and I thought, well, this works out perfectly. So I applied there and luckily got the job. And that's actually where I first heard about the children's literature program at Simmons, what was then Simmons College, is now Simmons University. And I wound up going there for a degree in writing for children and children's literature. And I teach in that program now. So it all kind of connects in this really cool way.
I didn't realize that Megan Lambert had that much of an effect on your career, that she really kicked it all off.
Yeah, Megan's also the one who first told me about the children's lit program. So I feel like really I just need to thank her every day.
She's a pretty cool person. I like her. She some really cool picture books, but also I'm blanking. I have the book downstairs, but the book on how to read children's books. Is that you know the title? I can't remember. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Of course, I can't think of it right now, but yeah, I know what you mean.
But it's a great. She actually did at the Concord Library. She did an event which was attended by a bunch of librarians that I knew from other libraries, like my librarian from the Lexington Library was there, and so it was like a packed house about basically just all different kinds of picture books and how to use them in story times and things like that. So that's super cool. So you started off your Polish.
The whole book approach. The whole book approach. That's what it's called.
The whole book approach.
Yeah.
You were tutoring Polish.
Yes.
So you're from Poland originally, right?
I am, yeah. So I was born there. My family moved to the U.S. right before I started first grade. So it was actually really cool when I was working in a school. I was working with a little girl who had just come from Poland, and she had just started first grade. And so she didn't know the language at all. And so I was just kind of helping her in the classroom until she got more acclimated and, started to kind of get the just the hang of things. But it was such a cool thing to kind of be in the the grown-up position, but seeing the kid and thinking, I used to be that person. I used to be that kid who had no idea what was going on.
And that was 17 years ago. So is she an author now as well?
Right. I wish so. That would be awesome.
That would be, yeah. But so you have a little bit in this book, which is The Wonder of Wildflowers, which just came out earlier this year. It's awesome. I read it aloud to my kids. And so if anybody has questions for Anna, by the way, feel free to post them. But this book has a little bit of, I don't know, maybe more of a personal connection for you because it's about an immigrant to a fictional magical land. But I don't know, do you want to tell us a little bit about this and then maybe how you came up with the title?
Yeah, sure. So this story is definitely the most personal book that I've written. I mean, I feel like every book that I write has a little bit of me in it, but The Wonder of Wildflowers, for years people would ask me like, why don't you write about being an immigrant? And I never felt like I had anything that interesting to say about it. I felt like there's so many good books about that experience, and it just didn't feel like I had anything to offer. And then one time I was having a conversation about it with somebody, and I was like, well, I mean, unless it had magic in it, maybe then I'd write that story. And then it was like, ding, oh, I get it. I have to write that story, but would put magic in it. And so this takes place in a world that's a lot like ours. It's about 10-year-old Mira, who lives in a country, the only country in the world that has magic. And she's from a country that doesn't have magic. And so not only is she trying to kind of fit in with her friends and her school, but she's dealing with the fact that she and her family are the only people in this town who aren't magical. And so that was really fun to write about. It was also kind of tricky for me to write a story that was like had a lot of my sort of more personal experiences about being an immigrant and trying to fit in and, trying not to stand out in any way, which when I was a kid was my goal all the time, was to not have anybody realize that there was anything different about me. And so it was like fun and scary to tap into some of that emotion and some of those memories. But I think what made me able to write it was the fact that it was this fictional world, that there was magic in it. So then it stopped being my story and started to be the character's story. And so, yeah. And as for the title,
it's really cool in this. It's this liquid amber that everybody who is a citizen has access to, and it basically makes you not super, but it sort of makes you stay healthy all the time and makes you I guess reach your full potential, maybe you would say, or even kind of push the boundaries of it. Like, it's not going to give you any superpowers, but if you're a bright person, you're going to be like, really, really smart. And everyone's sort of as smart as they could be, if they're on amber. And I don't know, it's sort of, it's not like a drug story, but it has a feel for, because they're running out of it. And that's actually why the family moves, is because they're scientists or the mom is, who knows how to help. But yeah, so there's this amber. The first time I heard about this story, it was called Amberland at the time. Is that the title? And you may have even sold it that way as Amberland. Yeah.
So it went through a bunch of different titles, but Amberland was, when we sold it, we called it that. But I think one of the kind of hesitations about that, it sounds more like YA novel. And it doesn't tell you enough about the story. So we went through all sorts of different iterations. And Josh, you were very helpful. And whenever I have a problem with a title, I always make you come like brainstorm with me. So
I know. I was thinking about that too. Like, and I do the same with you. I'm not sure any of the titles that we've ever discussed together have actually ended up being the titles, though. Like,
no, they haven't.
So that
yeah,
it ends up working out. So the first time we've known each other for a while, and I know that when I met you, it was at the 2013 New England SCBWI conference. But you met me, or not met me, but you saw me like a few hours before I was introduced to you, and I was in a workshop, and you were like the handler for the workshop, and I don't know, maybe I should let you tell the story. It's not, I don't want to make this about me, but it is kind of funny. So if you want to tell how we met later on that evening at some social event or something, but
yeah.
But yeah, the first time.
You were sitting like in the front row, I think, and I was handing stuff out, and I was like, I saw your name tag and it said Papa J Funk, and I was like, huh, that's interesting. And then I remember at that social event where we met like officially later that night, later that day, I remember being like, literally having a conversation with somebody being like, I saw somebody named Papa J Funk today. That was interesting. And then like you walked in the room and I was like, that guy. So it was so funny. Yeah. So, you're it was like your persona just like preceded you.
Yeah. That was probably the last time I used that name on a name tag. But as soon as I signed with my agent, the last question she asked me when we had the call, she was like, so what's the deal with Papa J? And I was like, forget it, I'm going to drop it. Yeah, don't use silly, absurd pseudonyms if you can avoid it, because it'll be harder. Because I came to a bunch of your book events. I even met your agent in one time, and then I queried her. And she responded. She's like, I didn't know how to respond because I had met you, but I didn't remember your name. And I felt weird saying, Dear Papa J, because that's just weird. And so, but my daughter at the time was like the perfect age for all of your books. And so we ended up coming to see you a couple times at the New England Mobile Book Fair, I think. You taught me so many things about how to be an author, about keeping a stack of books in your trunk in case the New England Mobile Book Fair doesn't have the one that I need, but just like so many that as soon as I got my first offer, I think I was messaging with you and with Heather Kelly, and you were like, you need to start querying. You give me all the timely advice that I did, and critiques too. I didn't even tell you why, because I was too like crossing my fingers, didn't want to jinx myself that I had an editor's attention. I was like, hey, if you have time to give me a critique, and you are always so helpful, and I'm not suggesting that you would do this for anyone and everyone should send you their manuscript, but just for me personally, it was you've been a huge help and mentor for me throughout the years, and I hope you know that I appreciate all of that, and thank you. But we've also been on the board of the Writers Loft together. I think you're the first lofter that I've had. You're the first actually local person that I've had the chance to chat with, and we both knew Heather Kelly, who will eventually join me probably in September, and she's the founder of the Writers Loft. You knew her for a while. You guys had met on like blog comment boards or something.
There was definitely one day where I said to my husband, like, I'm meeting a friend that I met on going to meet a friend like for coffee, someone I met online, and he was like, this doesn't sound like a good idea. But it was because she and I, like, we read each other's blogs. This was a long time ago. We read each other's blogs, and we realized that we had been at the same book event at the same time. So then it was kind of like, oh, well, let's just meet up in person, because we were already physically in the same place and we didn't even realize it. So we might as well try to actually like on purpose meet up. And it was really good that she wasn't like a psycho, that story had a happy ending. But yeah, it's funny how you
live in the Boston area generally, and even not like hours away from each other, but not. But so then we both. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say what you were saying about like when you're starting out you know, and I so appreciate everything you said because I feel that way now. Like I feel like you and I have, like, if we need any advice or any like critique or anything, like it's nice to have knowing that I can like just send something to you and be like, what do you think? You know, it's so important to have those people. It's so important to have those people, I think, in any stage of your career. I don't think I realized that when I was first starting out. I didn't realize like how important it was to have those people that can be there to kind of like talk you through things and even to cheer you on and to be like, this is normal, this is not normal. And so, yeah, it's sometimes it can be hard to find that community. That's why I like plug for the Writers Loft. That's why it's so great. But I think anywhere that you can find that community of people who are kind of in the same place that you're in, also people who are in different stages, so that you can kind of be like, okay, this is people who are more experienced or people who are starting out, so let me help them along. It's just so nice to have that community and those people that you can support and that can support you. And I feel like that's important no matter where you are in your career.
Yeah, you can't be friends with Heather for very long and not feel like community is important.
Yeah, she's brainwashed us all to us.
While we're talking about the Writers Loft, tomorrow night you are doing a craft chat that's free and open to everyone, and it's about...
Yes, so it's a free webinar on Zoom. It's called Embracing Perfectionism, and it's basically about how, you know, perfectionism and creativity don't have to be at odds with each other; they can actually work together. So I'm going to be kind of breaking down how to help them coexist rather than, you know, perfectionism getting in the way of your creativity.
So presumably you're kind of just half-assing the presentation.
Yeah. So it's funny because I said to my husband like a couple weeks ago, when I first had this idea for this chat, I was like, I could throw together a presentation on perfectionism, and he like laughed. And he's like, well, besides the like obvious irony of that statement, he's like, also, I know you, and you aren't able to just throw things together. And he's right. Like, of course, I've been like practicing and perfecting, and I've redone my PowerPoint like 3 times. So yeah. It's a work in progress. This dealing with perfectionism, but
yeah. So okay, so you were at the Carle Museum. You went to Simmons, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have a couple degrees from Simmons, if I'm correct, right? And what are they're in writing and
children's literature, like an MA in children's literature and an MFA in writing for
children. And now you teach at Simmons as
Yep.
well.
Yeah, to me, I'm still there.
I mean, you were the Boston Public Library person? What was that?
The writer in residence at the Boston Public Library. No, you're close.
I don't do very much research on these things. My wife does, but she's who does really exist. Anna and I have been friends for now 7 years, but she's still never met my wife. Most people don't meet my wife, but that's fine. But she's normally my researcher, but she's got finals due in one of the classes she's taking. So I figured, I was like, I know enough about Anna, I can handle it. So, but yes, Boston Public Library Writer in Residence, and you won the Penn Award. Right? That was what's that one called?
Yeah, the Susan Bloom Discovery Award. That's what it's called now. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was sort of how you connected with your agent, and that's that book. You won an award for a book published. Is that correct?
Yeah. So it's for an unpublished but full manuscript. So I was so lucky to win that award because I had been querying for the book that I wrote at the Boston Public Library. I was querying that book and getting some really lovely rejections from agents, but it was not, it just wasn't quite there, I think. And then but luckily I was working on something else, and I sent it to the Penn New England before I started querying it, really. And it was one of the winners that year. And my agent was there. My agent, Amy Joan Paquette, was there at the award ceremony. She was like a brand new agent. She came up to me afterwards and was like, oh, I'm actually a new agent if you're looking for an agent. And I was like, yes, in fact, I have been looking for an agent for a year, but I was trying to play it cool, like, yeah, maybe, I don't know. And then, so then I queried her. I sent her the story, the whole story that I had read from at that ceremony and at the reception, and she liked it, and I signed with her, and it's been a wonderful partnership. So it's funny how things work out that way. But I feel like awards and things like fellowships and awards have been really good to me, and for 2 reasons. One, they've given me deadlines to work with, which I do really well with, but also it's just that you just never know like sending your work out there. Even if you don't get the thing you're applying for, you just never know what kind of connections you might make or what kind of doors it can open.
So deadlines, are you on how many deadlines right now?
So I'm technically only on one right now, down from two, which I had two books that were due. Like I'm working on a series that has like one book, second book, they come out really close together, and I was like drafting the book 2 while revising book 1. I finished revising book 1, and now I'm just drafting book 2, and I realized that I have to completely start over because it's not working quite right. So that's what I've been doing. That was still what I was doing today, is taking lots of notes in my notebook and figuring out, okay, I have to rework this and kind of start over, but I think it'll be better, and it'll be done by September, hopefully.
Yes, by September. The 1st or the 30th?
Early September is all I know. I don't have an exact deadline, but it'll get done. It always does.
Yeah, so you, is that book in yet?
I don't think so, but we do have a cover that we can reveal in September, actually.
Okay.
So.
I mean, there was one time where Secondhand Wishes was already on Amazon, but it hadn't been announced yet. And
yeah,
with everything. Yeah. Yeah. And what's that one about? Just remind the viewers.
So it's about a girl who finds some magical wishing stones, and she starts to make wishes on them. They come true, but because they're used wishes, they don't come out quite right. So hilarity ensues.
Yeah. So again, magical is in there, yeah. So that one, and I'm gonna guess that it's the same publisher. You don't have to confirm or deny, but Scholastic tends to be very late with their announcements. So, you know, we might guess that the books you're working on right now are for Scholastic. I mean, who knows?
Yes, they are for Scholastic. And you know what? I can just tell you what the books are about. No, it's fine.
Well, it'll be a surprise. And so, yeah. And I feel like there was something else that I wanted to ask you, but I don't know. I'll just ask you some other time again. But yeah, so you are on deadlines now, and lots of deadlines usually, I guess. And you have a couple picture books too that I don't want people to sleep on, pun intended. Power Down Little Robot, which I don't have this signed by you. For some, I was at the book launch, and it was, I remember because that your friends in the band played, and like you had a big stuffed animal thing, but somehow this isn't signed. You signed this in a weird spot because I don't know what happened to the signature on that one. But this book is super cute. It's about a little robot who doesn't want to go to sleep. And I remember when you were writing this book, not specifically, I didn't know all the details at the time, even though it froze again. But you were posting on Facebook like medium. You wanted to know what kids said to avoid going to sleep, and it was funny because you used a bunch of our answers and sort of put them in robot terms, and you didn't have kids at the time, which was so it was pretty cool to see how this book kind of just evolved pretty quickly over the course of like a few weeks, and I think it sold pretty quickly. But it's an adorable bedtime book. And you also have Dogosaurus Rex I saw over there. I don't know where my copy went, but
yes. So what you said about Power Down Little Robot is true. That book happened really quickly, and this book happened very, very slowly. This one I rewrote. This is illustrated by Kevin Hawkes, and it's one that I worked on for a while. It was the first picture book that I ever wrote that I thought could actually maybe get published, and for me, picture books are so much harder than novels. And so it's a very slow process usually. And then this one, when it finally sold, then it took 6 years for it to be published because of
and
just
it sold before this one, right? But
came out after. Yeah. But it was worth the wait because I just love how this book came together. So, it kind of worked out even if it was felt like a very long time.
Well, it's about a boy who adopts a dog, but it happens to actually be a dinosaur. But it does all the normal dog things, sort of. Yeah, no, it's hilarious. And Kevin Hawkes is awesome. You have another book coming out soon too.
I do.
focuses on a dog. Do you want to tell me about that?
Yeah, so that one is in show. This same town where nobody knows what a dog is. So where it's a girl who takes her dog to a dog show, and all the other dogs are like dragons and unicorns and robots. So yes, and then hilarity ensues, as that's my pitch for any book I do.
Number one, what is your favorite movie theater snack?
Oh, I'm going to say Raisinets.
Really interesting. Okay. I mean, I tend to get popcorn, but if I had to pick a candy, I'd probably go Junior Mints. But I like the white chocolate raisins better, or like the yogurt covered the chocolate. But no, you don't like Raisinets. All right. Now, okay. Second question. Where do you buy your toilet paper?
This is very important. Yes. So through Instacart, they bring us toilet paper from Big Y near us.
You know, we're not close enough to any Big Ys, but I miss the Big Y. We had the Big Ys in college, out near UMass, because that's where I went too. Yeah, I miss the Big Y. Okay, so the Big Y. Do you like? So is it like the thick one, like the tough one, or the soft one? Like, what do you prefer?
So usually we get the soft kind, but I feel like these days we'll just take whatever they have. We're not picky.
All right, that works. That works. I'm with you. Okay. Let's see. Pizza or calzone?
Oh, calzone.
Really? Okay. Like, but you can't do that all the time, right? Because right. No, or would you? You'd prefer if you always had a choice. Okay. Where's your favorite calzone?
Let's think. I'm not really picky.
Oh.
Any piece of
like
is fine.
Yeah. What do you like in the calzone?
Mushrooms and spinach.
Okay. Yeah. No, I would totally hate that. I don't do mushrooms. I'm vegan, but mushrooms are like my favorite food. It's hard to be vegan and not like mushrooms, but
yeah.
Well, it's not that hard. But mushrooms are like the one thing I will not eat. I don't like olives, but I'll eat them if I have to. And eggplant, it really depends. Eggplant without dairy and egg is hard. Like eggplant parm's good, but eggplant plain is just not for me. But all right, mushroom and spinach calzone. All right, I remember back in UMass, Bruno's was where we'd always get the calzones. That was my favorite calzone. And there's a lot because it's a college town. But yeah. Okay, this is a quick question. Ready? Clear your head. What's the first 90s band or musical artist you can think of?
In Vogue.
Wow, okay.
I went down like this 90s like R&B rabbit hole the other day where I was trying to find some music to run to, and I was like looking up like CNC Music Factory, and I put like Getting Jiggy with It on my running playlist. And then it just brought me to all this other amazing 90s music, like In Vogue and like Boys to Men and all this stuff. Jade. I was like, I haven't thought of Jade in like 20 years. So, yeah.
Oh, Jade. I don't know. I know that all
if
the
you
other
heard it, if you heard it, you would be like, oh, right, Jade.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And last one. Katniss Everdeen or Percy Jackson?
Oh, Katniss Everdeen.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Even though you're middle grade.
Yeah, but she's got a bow and arrow.
Okay. I buy it. I mean, I probably would choose her too. Yeah. But Percy has more books to like watch him through. But I don't know. Maybe that's a hard one. But yeah.
I feel like Percy Jackson is more relatable. Like he's the kind of kid that you could like actually like imagine hanging out with. But she's like aspirational. Like she's like the kind of person like you wish you could be because she's so tough. You know.
Yeah. Okay, I'll buy that. So where can people find you on social media and things like that, and your website?
So my website is annastan.com. And yeah, I'm on Twitter, kind of, occasionally. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm kind of around. I don't spend a lot of time on social media. I try to focus mostly on deadlines, but I do every once in a while do an event like this or whatever. So those are all up on my website.
Yeah, and tomorrow night at the Loft.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, so hold up your book that comes out. It's in August, right? Is it like next week
August
or the week
4th.
after?
Yeah.
August 4th. All right.
And I'll be doing
And then, yeah, I mean, you'll probably have a new book out pretty soon after that. And your picture book is next winter?
So that one's coming out in February, and I just found out that it comes out right around the same time as the paperback of The Wonder of Wildflowers. So that'll be fun to have 2 books coming out in the winter.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, yeah, Wonder of Wildflowers, one of my favorite books of the year. Everyone should read it. It is a quick read. Like, it's only 200 pages, but it's awesome. It's really, really deep, and it's great for classrooms, especially probably towards the beginning of the school year. Would be great read aloud to get the kids kind of, to make sure that no one gets lost. Yeah, I love it, and check it out. And everyone go buy this book and go buy Anna's book. And thanks for joining me. And I hope you have a great night.
Thank you so much, Josh. This was really fun.
All right, bye.
Bye.